How's it going, YouTube? Coming today with another video, and today, guys, what to bring to you is a live twin. I really like this deck a lot, and I really feel like this is something that just kind of went under the radar, and a lot of people aren't really talking about right now. With the current ban list, the Desires hit to 1 actually hurt this deck quite a bit because it plays so much utility that the Desires always drew you into at least 1 or maybe even 2 hand traps, which is pretty crazy. We're going to be talking about the deck today, what it can do, and how it really stands up in the format. I feel like in a format with all the Brave stuff running around, you need at least 2 hand traps to be able to stop them from going off. This is a deck that can do that pretty well. I really like this deck too because there isn't a whole lot that you have to commit to the engine. It's usually just a normal summon, or if you use the spell, the special summon, all you need to do is get one of them on the board, and then all of a sudden you can really get your engine going. What this means too is that cards like Enemy Controller are going to be very good as well, and we're going to be talking about that later on in the video. If you've played a lot of Evil Twin, I really want to know your thoughts on this because I really do feel like I've come up with a really nice list for you guys today because there are a couple of hand traps that have been out of the format, but now they're going to be back in, and I'm really excited to start playing them again. But the first thing that I want to talk about today is exactly why utility is important and what decks can really abuse utility. And that's going to be your Evil Twin or your Tri-Brigade, even your Prank Kid. Now, Prank Kid can play a little less now, though, because they have to play the Brave engine. So if they're playing Brave, they have 9 slots that are now gone, whereas if you're playing decks like Tri-Brigade or Evil Twin, you can play a lot of cards. Now, what is utility? We're talking about hand traps, we're talking about droplets, chalice, all the cards that will literally just allow you to play through a board or to be able to prevent a board. Another really big one that I mentioned before that I think is really important to talk about is going to be Triple Tactics Talents. We'll be talking about that more on in the video as well, but with everyone playing the Brave engine as well, I feel like that card, where it usually would be dead in most situations before this format, now it's just going to be pretty live. We have a lot of times where that Griffin's on the board, and you just have an opportunity to either draw, to steal a monster. It's just very versatile in this format, and I feel like it's very good. So if you can play a deck that plays a lot of utility, I feel like you're already playing very ahead of your opponent, especially if you're able to open up those double hand traps. Being with the main deck Ash and Bell to stop the Brave engine, also having Ogre in there finally, I feel like that's even better this format, and it actually has a lot of room to shine. So we're going to be talking about my list at the end, so let's hop right into the next one here though. Is ways to play through interruptions. So this is something that I really enjoy. Now, I don't really like Nibiru this format, but I really do enjoy that card in this deck. Because if you are going for the Nibiru play, there's always the opportunity to just hit the board and then normal summon anything, like any of your live twin monsters, and then you can go straight into your Link 2 because it only requires you to have at least 1 live twin monster, which is very nice as well because it doesn't make you have to go into like 2 only, right? So that's one of my favorite things about Live Twin is it makes Nibiru a lot better of a card because it's just a monster that you can use to link climb. The other thing that I think is really important is being able to sideboard cards like Enemy Controller when you're going second, because if your opponent starts really popping off, or if they even have something as simple as an imperm, or if you're playing against Striker, they have like Anchor, if they target your, let's say your li-lil, then you can go ahead and use Enemy Controller to go ahead and tribute your li-lil, steal their Shizuku, and then you can go ahead and then summon out your other monster from your deck because the li-lil would not be negated since it's no longer on the board, and then you can go ahead and use their monster and then use your monster to again link climb just like using a Nibiru. So I really like that a lot. Being able to play cards like this and just steal from the board so easily, I really like that a lot, and I think that it's really strong, especially in this format. The next thing here is that you essentially draw 2 every turn with this deck, essentially. So if you have a Frost in the graveyard, this is a card that's an extender. They have 2 of these. One's called Tree, one's called Frost. And so they basically can summon out if you have the other color on your board. So if this one's the pink one, then if you control a blue, you can special summon the pink. If you control a blue or a pink, then you can special summon the blue one. So that's what's pretty cool about these. They're all pretty dependent on having the other one on the board. That's why I really like the Link 2s as well, because they can just reborn the other one out of the graveyard when needed. So what's really cool about this though is when you use the effect of the Trouble Sunny, the Link 4, you can go ahead and get a draw off of your kis-kil here. And then if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, you can go ahead and use Frost in your graveyard to draw again. And then on your turn, you can go ahead and draw for your turn and then use your Link 2 to draw as well. So this is what's really nice about this, and just have a really optimal way to essentially draw 2 every turn, which this deck is all about card advantage, so this is nothing new, but it is very nice to have that option. The next thing here too is that there's more ways to get free draws and break the board at the same time. The nightmares in this deck are very insane. The only one I don't play right now is Cerberus, and I feel like there is a notable way to play him because of the fact that there are other brave tokens running around, and there's almost always things in the main monster zone now, which is fine. I prefer just playing the Phoenix and the Unicorn. I feel like they're fine by themselves. I play access code instead of using that last slot to play the Cerberus because I feel like access code's still just fine. You do get locked into Fiends, but there's also just the opportunity to just throw up Link 2s pretty easily and then make the access code in a late game situation. Comes up quite a bit. I like it a lot. But the other thing too is that whenever you use a nightmare effect while you're pointing at another card, you can go ahead and draw. So I really like that too, since they're all co-linked here. You just get the free summons of the monsters off the Sunny, so you can go ahead and summon them back to back, and then you can summon like a Phoenix to one side and a Unicorn to the other side. You get free draws, and you're also just able to break a board pretty easily. That's why I really like this deck, because it's a lot of one-for-one trades until you're just up in card advantage from your opponent. It's very similar to Striker in that regard, which I really like, because once this deck gets snowballing, there's not a whole lot to stop it because of all the interruption that it plays, especially if you just have like 2 or 3 hand traps. It's really hard for your opponent to play. That's why I really like the nightmares in this. The next thing too is the ability to play Zeus. We all know how good Zeus is and how insane this card is. You play GGYGO. You can play the Sky Cavalry, which is a very good card. It can't be destroyed by battle, which is really cool as long as it has Xyz material. I just prefer the Gachi here because I'd rather have the ability to at least Zeus once, because if they have like a conch and then they pop your Sky Cavalry, there's not a whole lot that you can do about that. Whereas if you summon the GGYGO, if it would be destroyed, you can just attach one instead. So I feel like this is a little bit more versatile, and at least you're able to get one Zeus on the board versus just like hoping that your Sky Cavalry doesn't die in battle so you get the double Zeus off, which is fine. It does happen. I'm a big fan of using the GGYGO though. It's come up really, really clutch for me multiple times. Very good card. And then you can always go ahead and overlay for your Downard as well, so you get that extra material. Big fan of that. The next thing here, though, that I want to talk about is the fact that your Trouble Sunny will get impermed sometimes. It will get Veilered, which isn't the correct way to go about it. If they're not really sure what your cards do, this will happen a lot. But the best way to play around this is if your Trouble Sunny gets impermed or Veilered, you can tag out into just one. You don't need to go into both. So you use Trouble Sunny's effect, and then you summon this one right here, the pink one. Because then the pink one can revive the blue one, which is the pop. So at any point in time, if they interrupt your Trouble Sunny, you can just choose to summon out the pink one because they're trying to bait the pop. So if you can just go ahead and summon out the kis-kil, then you can summon back the li-lil at any time, unless they have another interruption and they force it out again, which at that point you would have baited 2 interruptions anyway, so it's perfectly fine. Moving forward, though, that's just a really nice thing to keep in the back of your mind. Non-targeting removal. Your Trouble Sunny, when it's in the graveyard, you actually have a way to just banish it, send a evil twin from your field or your deck to the grave. You have to play the big one that's like both of them in the main deck, the boss monster, because it makes this effect way too free. I really do like that a lot, and it's just something that's really important and something that really propels the deck forward, is just having the ability to have that non-targeting removal. The next thing I want to talk about, though, is going to be my list. The only thing I want to mention here that I didn't put in that might be a really solid option would be playing that one of Pot of Avarice. Not a lot of people like it. I personally really do, but I still can't really bring myself to play it. I just don't really feel like it's always that worth, but it is pretty good to keep in the back of your mind as something that you can play. As for the list, though, you see quite a few hand traps here. I have definitely a lot going on because I want to make sure that if I'm going first or if I'm going second, I have plenty of card advantage and I go ahead and stop my opponent's board no matter what. So the hand traps that I'm playing right now are going to be that Triple Ash, the Ogre, the Bell, the Imperm. I am playing one Crow, which might be a little weird, but I always feel like Crow is that one of that you can just play as a hand trap and it's just fine, right? Like, it's good against the Scythe, it's good against the DPE, it's good against things like Engage and Ray. It's good against like the Dragon matchup if they're trying to reborn. There's just a lot of very good utility out of the Crow that as a one of, I feel like it's fine. It's interchangeable with the Call by the Grave, but I feel like the one of Crow is easily just a perfect choice here. Also against like the Phantom Knight deck, it's another really good hit. Or if they're going and sending the Enchantress to the graveyard, you can go ahead and crow that as well. So just, again, a lot of very good utility out of the crow. I'm main decking the triple talents because that's just a really good card in this deck right now, being able to just use it so versatile. Having the cosmics again for those sites for the fateful adventure. You want to make sure that you have a way to stop that. We have the triple chalice again. You just want to be 1-for-1 trades this entire deck, which is another cool thing that you can do too if you use the effect of li-lil on field, like the level 2. You can go ahead and send it with Droplet as well to negate something and then still summon straight afterward. So just, again, very cool card interactions in this deck that I really enjoy. Another thing that you might be unaware of is that if you control an Evil Twin monster, you can use your Continue spell to keep continuously burning your opponent. It might not seem like that much, but you gain 200, they lose 200. It really does add up over time, and it can be very annoying. Something that I really do enjoy about this deck, though, having that little back end burn, it does help out a lot, especially because like the Link 2s are only 1100, so they're not that big. So it does help out. But I do hope that you enjoyed this today. This is something that I really wanted to put out because this is a deck that I really enjoy. It's something that I feel like is really not talked about that much, and it's still a really big sleeper right now because of the amount of utility that it can play. Again, though, if you want a coaching session, definitely go over to my Medify page. I'm in the top 16% of coaches right now, which is fantastic. I really enjoy that you all enjoy my sessions. I put a lot of effort into really making sure that you get the most out of your time with me and that you're really getting the best list or the best advice that I can give you. If you're not already part of the community, feel free to go ahead and join the Discord, follow Twitch, follow Twitter, and then I will see you guys all there. And I hope that you all have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you.